The tubes of you.
He doesn't know about that.
Alive. Saturday night from New York. All right. Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, competition. It is Thirsty Thursday. I hope you're ready. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I was like, what the
heck?
hell?
Friends and family.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Tim. Oh,
That's what he was walking.
What is
I
going
was
on?
like, dang, what an asshole.
Not very nice. Anyway, so we're going to dive right in here. Today, we are going to be learning how to be a phone warrior, or I'll let him give you his actual phrasing for it, but how to kick some booty on the phone. And I know this is a large area of opportunity for when I started brand new. And so definitely want to take your notes out because we got Mr. Roman Lee coming up here to give you the goods. And I'll tell you what, he has made some people fantastic on the phones. He was an ass kicker himself. So you definitely want to take notes and get ready for some questions if you have it on how to handle some objections or anything like that. But he's got some tips and keys on how to make sure you book more demos, get less reschedules and cancellations. And I know we could all do with more of that. So without further ado, I give you Mr. Roman Lee.
All right, guys, I need all of y'all to get out something to take notes with, preferably on paper. If you have a computer, that's fine, but I need you to have something to take notes with, okay? At the top of your paper, I want you to write telephone terrorist for dummies. It's the name of this workshop, telephone terrorist for dummies. Awesome, you wrote it down? Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to tell you first thing is you need to get pumped up to make phone calls, okay? It's just the same thing as making like for managers PR calls. You have to be fired up to make phone calls because you need to understand like you're about to go into these homes and you're about to provide these customers with a product that's going to last them for the rest of their lives and their children's life. You need to be fired up about that, okay? I know we're in the push right now, so you also need to know your why. Why are you sitting here making this phone call? If you don't know your why, then the phone calls don't mean anything. So during the push on Sundays is usually when we do them. We have all-day call days, okay? We make a lot of calls. What's a lot of calls? Anybody? 25. That's a lot of calls? 200. That's a good amount of calls. What's a lot of calls? Over 100? Yeah. To give you an idea, the first all-day call day of SC1, guys, I made 173 calls in one sitting. I booked one demo. I was very angry and I was very frustrated. And I called my coach, Mr. Randy Excellent, and I did not understand. I was so mad. All my other friends are in the office are booking demos. And you have to respect the numbers because that next day in the morning, I came back and I made about like 25 calls and I booked 13 demos. You have to respect the numbers. Okay. But Ashley, at the top of your paper, right? Telephone terrorist for dummies. But there's going to be 8 keys to phone jam like a terrorist, okay? So 8 keys. The first one is you need to have your schedule planned out and you should have set demo times that you're going to be offering, okay? It's very, very important. Don't be, because then you're going to mess up the rest of your schedule and that totally messes up. Like if you're offering a different time than the ones you have on your paper, that messes up the rest of your day. So you need to have set demo times that you're going to be giving her. That's key number 1, okay? It's super important because also it makes you look more professional on the phone. That way you're not like, oh, yeah, I could do any time between this time and this time. It's like, yeah, Ms. Jones, I could do 4 or 6. Which one works better for you? That's how a businessman or businesswoman acts. They're not like, yeah, we can have a meeting anytime before 5. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Key number 2 is to have your objection sheet ready. Does everyone know what an objection sheet is? I'm getting a little bit of some heads shaking no and a few shaking yes. Your objection sheet is like when they ask you questions on the phone, like, oh, what is Cutco? Do you say, oh, it's just knives, or do you just read what's in the manual? Just read what's in the manual. Okay? It's high quality kitchen cutlery and a few outdoor items. I'm sure you have a ton of knives, but I get paid just to show it. So does 7 or 9 work better for you? You should, like you have your rec approach down, you should get your objections down, guys. So number 1 is to have set demo times that you're going to be offering. Number 2 is to have your objection sheet ready. This third one, this one's a big one, okay? You need to be tracking. Oh, crap. Hold on. I think you have to, there's like people waiting. Oh, there it goes. I accepted them. Yeah. So number 3, guys, I think you just press like admit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, number 3 is to have a phone jam tracker. By the way, you don't have to have this beautiful printed out with boxes and everything phone jam tracker. Guys, you can literally do it on a piece of paper. Okay, you just make tallies. So back when I first started, this is how I would do it. I would straight up write M R B. Literally just write it on a piece of paper. And every time I make a call, I make a tally. Every time I reach somebody, I make a tally. So let's say I made 5 calls, reached 2, and I booked 1. That's how I used to track it. I know when you come to the office, we hand you the really pretty ones that have the boxes. You need to track that because if you know that in 20 minutes, statistically, you can book up 3 demos. Well, if you only have 10 minutes to make phone calls in between demos, you should be booking up at least a demo and a half. You need to know your statistics so that way when you get into those tight situations, you're like, okay, well, this is what I should book statistically. And you need to know your numbers. It's very important. You always need to track how many calls you make, how many people you reach, and how many demos you booked. If you're sitting down to make calls, you should, and just at any time, unless it's 5 before, 5 after, the minimum amount of calls that you should make in one sitting is 25. You need to get in the habit of that. A good phone jam is 50. Sunday, all day, call day, 200 is what you should shoot for. Okay? Number 1 is have set demo times you're going to be offering. Number 2 is have your objection sheets ready. Number 3 is have a phone jam tracker. You always want to track calls made, people reached, and people booked. Number 4, guys, follow your approach. Just follow your approach. It's really, really simple. They're words on a paper. Just read them. Shove them down Mrs. Jones' throat until she says yes. I know a lot of people have different approaches. Some of you are still using your training approach. Some of you are using Kathy's moneymaker approach. Some of you might be using, I don't even know what kind of approach, but find an approach that you like and stick to it. Okay? Commit to it. Number 5 is you should have a friendly, upbeat tone. This is super important. I'm going to teach you how to kick ass on the phone because check this out. If I call Miss Jones and I'm like, and she answers the phone and she's like, hello? And I'm like, hey, Susie, how's it going? And I'm throwing all this energy at her. She's not going to want to talk to me. You want to have an upbeat tone, but can I teach you how you should match their tone? So if I call David and he's like, hey, what's up, Roman? I should be like, oh, hey, David, how are you doing? Not like, David, what's up? Good morning, man. How's it going? Yeah, your friend Jordan told me to call you. Like, no, he's going to be like, this guy is like, you should match their tone or be a little bit higher. But if you answer the phone and Kylan's like, hey, what's up, man? I should be like, hey, Kylan, how's it going? Like, it matches tone. It's a real thing to match their tone. Okay? That's number 5. Number 6 is build urgency when offering times. What does urgency mean?
A feeling that needs to get in.
Yeah. Like, the reason I was calling now is that I actually only need 2 more demos for today. So I was wondering if there was any way you could squeeze me in on such short notice. At 5 p.m. or does 7 p.m. work better for you? What's the worst thing they're going to say? No. And then you go, oh, no worries. I thought I'd ask. I'm just working super hard towards my goals. So is that a bad day or just a bad time? Bad time. Then I should offer 2 other times. Does that make sense? You got to build urgency. Not like, oh, yeah, I'm in this huge contest, but yeah, I can see you next week. Like, no, that's not a thing. You need to see them win today. Guys, booking up demos, the farther you book a demo out, the less likely it's going to happen. Okay? If you could book a same-day demo, the chances of that happening are probably 95%. Same-day demos are the best because it's like an ice cube. It just melts the farther out that you do it. So you need to build urgency when offering times. And can I give you a bonus tip? It's a little nugget. Write a star, okay? Preface objections. Oh my gosh. You know what that means?
Say the objection before it comes up.
So first off, it's summertime, okay? So let's say it's 4th of July weekend, right? When you're talking to her, like, hey, Ms. Jones, I know you're super busy because y'all probably barbecuing or doing all sorts of stuff. What's up? No, Father's Day coming up. Yeah, the Father's Day is coming up next. So it's, hey, Ms. Jones, I know y'all super busy, probably barbecuing and stuff for Father's Day, but I was wondering if there was any time that you could squeeze me in on this day at this time. You're like, the objection that she's going to give you, you're saying it to her before she can say it to you. That way she can't be like, yeah, but Father's Day's coming up. You're like, yeah, I know, I just said that. Like, you're not allowing her to use that as an excuse because you already prefaced it. Ms. Jones, I know Miss Sally said you were super busy. You had all the kids and, man, you're doing this with Billy's baseball and, oh, man, this is a job and this and that. And however, I'm super busy too. You need to build up that urgency and letting them know, they got to find a time today. Because to be honest with you, do you know anybody who doesn't have 45 minutes to spare in a day, actually? Because a TV show lasts about how long?
40.
Well, nowadays the TV shows actually last 50 minutes plus 10 minutes of commercials. Okay, that's how long TV shows. Sometimes they're 30 minutes, but do you agree that people will sit down and watch a TV show? People, binge watch. People watch hours of TV, right? They can sit down and watch your demo. Do you agree that people will cook dinner? How long does it usually take to prepare a meal? about 30 minutes on average, probably. Do you think they can sit down and watch a 45-minute presentation? You can help them cook dinner? Man, and you get fed. Okay? So you want to preface objections. Number 7, guys, is you need to offer 2 times. How many times?
2.
How many times?
2.
I don't hear everybody. How many times, Jordan? Oh, I think he's muted. It's okay. You need to offer 2 times because then they're gonna choose. They're not gonna offer times for you. You stay in control. You always need to have control of the call. If you let Mrs. Jones have control, oh, sweetie, yeah, I'll give you a call back next week, and then it's just playing phone tag until you actually end up getting her booked, or you never get her booked. So you need to offer 2 times so she can choose from them. And if she says no to those 2 times, what do you say? Oh, is that a bad day or just a bad time? If she says it's a bad day, offer the next 2 times on the next what? Day. If she says it's a bad time, then just offer the next 2 what? Times. Okay? Super simple. But you got to understand, if you're looking at your schedule, you obviously want to book up Friday before you book up Saturday. So stop offering up Sunday before you book up Friday. That makes no sense because you see what I'm saying? You want to book up as close to you as possible. So number 7 is offer 2 times. And number 8, guys, is firm up properly. I know a lot of y'all have been struggling with this because you've had lots of reschedules and cancellations. This has got to be one of the most important things. Honestly, I very, very rarely will get a reschedule because I make Mrs. Jones know that this is important to me. And I know in the script it says, hey, Ms. Jones, are you sure this is a good time? Because if something comes up, I won't get paid for this time slot. I talk about, I have to write my name down. First and last name is Jones. I spell it out for them. My first name is Roman, like the Empire. And Ms. Jones, my last name is really long, okay? You ready? It's Lee, L-E-E. And she sits there. I'm like, oh, that's it. And she's like, oh. I'm like, it's stupid. I'm like, Ms. Jones, I have her write down my rep number as my confirmation code because it's longer. It's a lot easier to memorize 7199 than it is 48526938. She has to write. Hold on, let me get a pen. Ms. Jones, I thought you were writing it down. Oh, yeah, but let me get a pen. You ever had that happen? Where they're like, oh, yeah, I'm writing it down. And then you say something like, oh, hold on, let me go get a pen. You're like, Auntie, what the? You got to have them know that they're writing you down. Hey, Ms. Jones, I know this is super weird, but go ahead and put a penny in the freezer. I'm going to have Abe chill out in there until I get there. Dude, she's so fired up about that penny. When I get there, she hands it to me and it's cold. I'm like, this girl really put it in the freezer. She's like, what are you going to do with the penny? What are you going to do with the penny, Roman? Show me what you're going to do with the penny. I'm like, Ms. Jones, hold on. He needs to thaw a little bit. But it's those little things. And then having a sob story. Ms. Jones, I know you wouldn't do this to me, but the other day I drove all the way to Huntsville and Tina wasn't even there. Oh my gosh, I had to drive back at 5 o'clock rush hour traffic trying to come home. It took me 2.5 hours. So are you sure this is a time that works for you? And she's like, yes, sweetie, I will be there. And she will make sure of it. She will put that in her schedule. She'll be waiting at the door for you like, oh, hey, everybody, it's time for Roman to come over. It's like, yes, like that's how important it needs to be, okay? Because, by the way, the demo doesn't start when you get there. The demo starts when she gets on the phone with you. There's so much power that you can use while talking to her on the phone, okay? So I'm going to run through the 8. Number 1 is have set demo times you will be offering, okay? Number 2 is have your objection sheet ready. Number 3, have a phone jam tracker. You always want to track calls made, calls reached, how many people reached, and how many demos you booked, okay? Those are 3 most important things. Number 4, follow your approach. Find the approach that you're going to use and stick to it. Number 5, have a friendly, upbeat tone and try and match their tone. Number 6, build urgency when offering times. And that golden nugget was to preface objections. Number 7 is to offer 2 times. How many times?
2.
And number 8, guys, firm up properly. Okay?
What did you say? Sorry, the last one.
Firm up properly. So firm up is what I was talking about, is how making sure that she writes it down, letting her know, like getting the address. Like it's like, Mom, I know where you live, but give me your address. I need to create my good habits. Like going through those steps, not just, okay, sweet, I'll see you Thursday at 5, whatever. Bye, bye, bye. Like, no, sit down. You have her write it down. Have her write your name down. Get her address. Miss Jones, 30 minutes before my demo, we had a guy do this. 30 minutes before the demo, Miss Jones, go out in your front yard, find your tallest tree and light it on fire so that way I can just follow the smoke. JD Spence used to do that. He sold like 50K his first or second summer. Pretty cool. So that's like a firm up. There's different types of firm ups, but I know on Kathy's moneymaker approach, I'm not sure which one you're using, but at the bottom, it walks through all of them. Penny in the fridge. Oh, I love telling her, Miss Jones, next to my name, go ahead and write a smiley face with a bunch of curly hairs. That way you know what I look like when I get there. You can say, Miss Jones, write a smiley face, put some dreads on so you know what I look like when I get there. John Gordell used to go, Miss Jones, can you draw a smiley face, but make sure the eyes are like hyphens, so that way you know what I look like because I'm Asian. He used to say, draw an Asian smiley face. No joke. Orlando's looking at David. All right. Mr. Kristen, do you have anything you want to add before I play this video?
Yeah. I come back here. So, yeah, there's a couple things I wanted to reiterate on. Thank you, by the way. Give Mr. Lee a round of applause. Couple of things I wanted to add. It talks about, like, first thing is have fun on the phone. Okay? Too many people are so worried about the phone call. Don't forget that they think the way the phone call goes is the way your appointment's going to go. So if you aren't having fun, if you're not smiling and you sound monotone and really boring, are they going to want to spend an hour with that person? No. Are you going to want to spend an hour with that person? No. Okay. So remember that how they feel you on the phone is how they're going to expect the demo to go. All right. And if they feel it's going to be boring, they might book you when you call them. But guess what you're going to get? A reschedule or a cancel. Because they're like, absolutely not. Am I going to spend an hour? I got so much shit to do. I'm not going to do it. Okay. So have fun on the phones. Like Roman was saying, the bush. When people ask me what I do, I'm like, Mrs. Jones, yeah, what I do is I set up a petting zoo in your front yard. And I bring some llamas, some sheep, some pigs, some cows. It's like a petting zoo. The whole neighborhood will love it. I'll clean it all up. Don't worry. I don't want any freak out. She goes, no, you can't do that. My husband will freak out. I go, don't worry, Mrs. Jones, I don't do that. She goes, what do you do? Sometimes I sell inflatable dartboards.
Exploding golf balls.
Exploding golf balls, underwater basket weaving. Like, and they like crack up, and then what they do is they know that we're gonna have fun when I come over. And I always tell them I'm gonna be the highlight of your day. Lauren, I promise you we're gonna have a great time. Even if you don't like anything. Oh, by the way, write this one down. This is my 15-minute guarantee. If someone tells you I don't have time, I can't see you, I'm not interested, Mrs. Jones, I completely understand. I'm working really, really hard to stay on track for my goal. I'm working really hard to stay on track for my goal. Is there any way you can just squeeze me in? Is there any way you can just squeeze me in for about 30 minutes or so? Is there any way you can squeeze me in for about 30 minutes? And I will give you my 15-minute guarantee. I will give you my 15-minute guarantee. So anyway, you can just squeeze me in. I'll give you my 15-minute guarantee. If you aren't having fun in the first 15 minutes, if you're not having fun in the first 15 minutes, Mrs. Jones, I'll let you get the biggest boot you have in the house and kick me right out the front door. If you're not having fun in the first 15 minutes, I'll let you get the biggest boots you have in the house and kick me right out the front door. Or if you're scared to say that because you know someone's got some big boots, Mrs. Jones, I'll let you get a squirt gun and squirt me in the face until I leave. Whatever you want. But the purpose of this line is to show them that you know they're gonna have a great time, and you're gonna say, I'll only guarantee you 15 minutes. And what I mean by that is they're only committing to at least 15 minutes in their head right there. I have never ever had anyone kick me out of the house after my first 15 minutes that when I use that line. Never. Okay. And if you ever did, it means you didn't build good rapport. Okay. Because when you come in with the expectation to get to know your customer, not to sell them, they're going to have more fun with you being there. Okay. So that sets the tone for having fun right off the bat. Shoot, there's one other thing I wanted to say.
Smile.
Smile while you dial. Big one. Yep. Smile while you dial.
Can I make a conference? I have a demo at 9:30, but it's just
You're interrupting my meeting. Give me a second, Asia. We're almost done. There's something else I wanted to add, but I completely forgot. But have fun on your phone calls, right? Don't be over worried about saying everything proper or right. Just remember, approach them like your friend. Approach them like you already know them. I find a lot of people who get scared to make phone calls, and that tone of voice affects the customer. So when I call, I'm like, hey, Lauren, what's going on? Yeah, Asia told me to reach out to you. Oh, she didn't give you a call? I speak as if we're already friends because I speak it into existence. Okay? I literally have the conversation like I already know them. Like they've been friends of mine from way, way back in the day, and it makes them feel more comfortable for the phone call. But if you're like, hey, Asia? Is this Asia? No, it's not. Right? You know, that's how a telemarketer calls. They're like unsure of who they're supposed to be talking to, but you need to talk to them as like your friends already. Okay. And the urgency is so important. There's really something I wanted to add, but I completely forgot. But yeah, so keep it simple, have fun, and just let the script do the work. And 2 times is so crucial, so crucial. You taking it back over?
I just want to finish with a video.
Cool. I had one, but you got.
You
Yeah.
said something about 2 times.
Yeah, when you always offer 2 times. When you're scheduling an appointment, always offer 2 times. Yeah, I find too many people that if they say no to the first time, they're like, "Oh, what day works for you?" Well, you just said my schedule doesn't matter, Mrs. Jones. What's your schedule? And when you do that, you literally say, "I'm not important anymore,"
Usually like ask.
and then that's it.
You said you what?
It's just like when I got the phone with them, I usually ask them. I was like, "Is the
Morning, afternoon, or evening better for you?
Oh, by the way, and then I ask questions. Like they say, "Oh, I have this going on and that going on." It's like, "What time does that finish? What time do you have this? What time do you have that?" Like if they ever tell me there's something going on, I ask questions about that event. You work, okay? What time do you get out of work? I don't move on to the next day just because they're at work. Okay, I find out when they finish work so I can find out what times fit in my schedule then. Or if they have a baseball game, what time's the game done so we can figure out the time that we're here after the game.
How do I share? How do I share screen? Oh, it's right here. Right here. All right, guys. This video is a little bit vulgar, but I like the content that it has. It talks about being relentless, and I think that's what we've been a little bit lacking, is having relentless, like on the phone, just doing it and kicking ass doing it.
Big team right here. Oh yeah. I had my team. They won yesterday.
Oh, actually, I remember what I was going to say. Don't be afraid to ask for a demo 2 or 3 times on one phone call. And what I mean, when someone tells you no, like Mrs. Jones, you don't have to get anything. And I'm just adamant. I repeat that 2 or 3 times. You don't have to get anything. Just seeing me helps me out for my scholarship. So what day works or what time works better for you? Blank or blank. They're like, oh, I'm really busy. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I completely understand. I'm really busy too. I need to do 5 appointments a day to stay on track for my goal. Is there any way, and then I finish with this, is there any way you can just squeeze me in? I'll even give you my 15-minute guarantee. That's how I do it. That's the 3rd time I ask. If I have to, I throw in my 15-minute guarantee, right? So the first time you ask, it's like normal. They're like, oh, I'm busy. Javon, I'm like, hey, no problem. I completely understand. I'm working really hard for my scholarship. Is there any way you can just squeeze me in? Blank or blank. Oh, no, I'm not interested. Mrs. Jones, you don't have to be interested in anything. The great thing is you don't even have to buy anything. You just sit there and listen to me for my presentation, and I get credit for that. So is there any way, I'll even give you my 15-minute guarantee, blank or blank, right? So 2 or 3 times you need to ask for the order on a phone call, okay? 2 or 3 times. It's a big success.
What the heck? Well, let me share.
The United.
I don't know if it'll let you share properly.
Let me see.
And do not text to set up appointments. It's a terrible idea.
Can't tell if it's sharing or not.
I don't know. You're not going to figure it out because it didn't do well yesterday.
Okay.
So just send it to him and play it.
All right, guys. I'm just gonna send it to you. If you can't hear it, I will send you the video.
Dude, this is not.
All right, guys. Pay attention.
You never see them? What is you being?
Hey, shh. No, you're gonna. Where is? What happened in the? It's up there.
Yes.
Just gonna share the screen. Oh, it's because you know it worked yesterday. I think I just turned it up right here. All right, guys, here we go.
Called telephones. I'm gonna let you on a little secret about these telephones. They're not gonna dial themselves.
Okay.
It's on the TV.
See those little black boxes? They're called telephones. I'm gonna let you on a little secret about these telephones. They're not gonna dial themselves, okay? Without you, they're just worthless hunks of plastic. Like a loaded M16 without a trained Marine to pull the trigger. And in the case of the telephone, it's up to each and every one of you. My highly trained Stratonites. My killers. My killers who will not take no for an answer. My fucking warriors. Who will not hang up the phone until their client either buys
So you book a demo
or
or
fucking
you die.
Let me tell you something. There is no nobility in poverty. I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. Because at least as a rich man, when I have to face my problems, I show up in the back of a limo wearing a $2,000 suit and a $40,000 gold fucking watch.
That's what this is why I force.
Dude, you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Stick it out! Hit him! Hit him! Fuck company! If anyone here thinks I'm superficial or materialistic, go get a job at fucking McDonald's, because that's where you fucking belong. But before you depart this room full of winners, I want you to take a good look at the person next to you. Go on. Because sometime in the not so distant future, you're gonna be pulling up to a red light and you beat up old fucking Pinto, and that person's gonna be pulling up right alongside you in their brand new Porsche with their beautiful wife by their side who's got big voluptuous tits.
Oh, that's just stupid. I should turn it
And
down.
who you gonna be sitting next to? Some disgusting wildebeest with 3 days of razor stubble and a sleeveless moo crammed in next to you and a carload full of groceries from the fucking Price Club. That's who you're gonna be sitting next to. So you listen to me and you listen well. Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing.
Need to pay for school?
Is your landlord ready to evict you? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Does your girlfriend think you're a fucking worthless loser? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming successful.
Speak the words that I have taught you, and I will make you richer.
Guys, read the manual and you will be successful.
Go out there, and I want you to ram
Demos and cut codes down Miss Jones' throat.
Till they choke on it and they buy 100,000 shares. That's what I want.
Shows you by the Cucko Kitchen,
You be
baby.
ferocious. You be relentless. You be telephone fucking terrorist.
Telephone
Then let's
terrorist.
knock this motherfucker on the bar.
That's it right there. I need y'all to be telephone terrorists. Okay? I need you to be telephone terrorists. So with that being said, for those of you that are right here, you can join us if you want, or you can hop off, but we're gonna break out before you have to leave for your demos or before you hop on the phones. Okay? I want y'all to bring it up. We're gonna be some telephone fucking terrorists, okay? Bring it up, get up, come on, Evan, come on. I want you to face your problems by becoming successful. Really successful. Come on, baby. Would you agree, like, I mean, you could cry, but your $2,000 paycheck sounds pretty good right now, huh? Yeah, all right, cool. Here we go. What's up, shit? Get up, shit! Get up! Warrior! Let's go! Stop on these phones, people.
Adios, ladies and gentlemen.
Going to the book themselves.